coming into Echoes, Caitríona, after what happened to Claire at the end of the season, it really kind of inspires an original storyline in regards to her kind of self-medicating.
For Claire, it was really interesting to see her unravel in a way that we never have before. And I think that's one thing that I always sort of felt with Claire, like she goes through these tough situations and she's just able to get up and get on. And it spoke to her ability to compartmentalize. And I think that that's also why she's such a good doctor. I think a lot of people in that profession can do that. But this is something that really tears her apart. And she's not able to function in that way. And that coping mechanism no longer serves her. And so, like many people who experience trauma, you lean on things that you never really needed before. And she initially starts to take ether as an experiment, as something that she thinks is going to just help her in her surgeries. And then that kind of lure of escapism and relief from this kind of conversation in her head or these feelings is too much to ignore. And so time and time again, she starts to self-medicate with the ether, and it really does, it becomes a crutch. She becomes addicted to these moments of escape from the pain that she's experiencing. We talked a lot about how this was going to manifest, and especially when we get further into the season, I think, we really honed in on, what this experience was going to be for her.
And just this lastly, in Allegiance, you have that Cherokee seduction scene, which is from the book that people were really excited to see. How was it getting to play that moment, which, I think a lot of people have been excited, but weren't sure if the show was going to go there?
Yeah, I think working with the Cherokee, the First Nation has been such a fun part for me to interact with those guys, and they just bring such a great energy and their culture to the show. And Jamie's a very loyal man. I think just surprised in that situation, but I think we got some humor out of it, and it was fun. It was a fun scene to play, especially with John Bell there. He's great fun to play around.
Well then, Mr. Christie. Now maybe I should explain how we do things here.
And then in Allegiance, I love that they gave you a moment with Ian, and it was, a moment for the cousins to really talk. Just tell me a little bit about getting to have those small moments. Really makes a big difference in terms of our character understanding.
Yeah, and even just the setting of it. I love that scene, it really talks about, I think it really shows Rihanna's sensitivity, and almost like we've gone through in lockdown, this moment where we really need to educate people on different cultures and different races and everything else. And I think even just the setting of having it in this intimate stable, it's so quiet and calm, it's a dark, cold night, and Ian and Bree just have this serendipitous meeting there and just this beautifully honest conversation. And also her trying to educate somebody who, with all due respect, isn't educated in that way, to try and tell them about the future, but without the context of how it gets there. It's just, again, a very hard topic to navigate. And I think that scene's really beautiful. And I think, again, showing how the relationships have changed this season. I love those little cousin moments because it's often a relationship you can forget about. Everyone's related and it's a very difficult family tree. But I think just showing how the youngsters are now becoming such a team ready to look after the older generations is a really nice thing to see. Just that strength building and that unity.
I don't belong here. Brianna, Roger, they don't belong here. But yet here we are, all of us, because I loved you more than the life that I had.